A monk's face splits down the middle, revealing another. It looks painful, yet both have their eyes closed, at peace. Who are they? The outer face is Bao Ji, or Ji Gong, who lived from 418 to 514. At first, he was an ordinary monk, ordained at Daolin Temple. Then, as he entered his 50s, something changed. He let his hair grow wild, walked barefoot, and carried a staff hung with a mirror, scissors, and a length of silk. No home, no routine. Stories soon claimed he could live without food, foresee events, and no distant thoughts. He unsettled people enough to be imprisoned, yet was still seen walking the streets while locked in his cell. In the end, he was released as the miracles multiplied. When the devoted Buddhist emperor Wu of Liang took the throne, all restrictions were lifted, and Baoji became the emperor's trusted spiritual advisor. Suddenly, in 514, he carried a temple guardian statue outside and told the monks, "The Bodhisattva is about to leave." Days later, he died without illness. But wait, where was the split face? It didn't appear until the 8th and 9th centuries. The story began when Emperor Wu of Liang asked the great painter Zhang Songyou to paint Baoji's portrait. How skillful was the painter? Legend said he once painted 4 dragons on a temple wall, but left their eyes unfinished. When challenged, he completed 2. Thunder then shook the sky, and those dragons flew into the clouds, while the eyeless pair remained. Knowing Sengyu's reputation, Baoji offered to reveal his true form. He opened the skin of his face. Inside was the 12-faced Avalokiteshvara, one moment compassionate, the next severe. Sengyu could not paint. Remember Baoji's last words? He called himself a bodhisattva. But why did it become specifically the 12-faced Avalokiteshvara? It's a variation of the 11-faced one, with the main face counted in. In the Tang dynasty, devotion to this deity was rising, with newly translated sutras promising protection in this life and a better rebirth in the next. Baoji, who slipped between places and could not be held in one form, mirrored the deity who took many forms to help many people. The belief spread through paintings and sculptures. Around 770 to 780, the Japanese monk Kaimyo brought one such image from Tang China to Dayanji Temple. Records describe a wooden statue of Baoji pulling open his own face with both hands to reveal Avalokiteshvara within. Unfortunately, it was lost. What survives is this. Inspired by that lost original, it was carved in the 11th century from a single block of Hinoki cypress. Bare and unpainted, it still carries almost every mark of the blade. His right hand makes the gesture of fearlessness, a promise of protection. His left hand holds a kundaka of healing nectar for purification and compassion. Now all his wildness lives in those rough marks alone. He opens his face the way one opens a heart, and inside is another at peace. Their eyes are closed, turned inward, as if the answer was never out here with us, but in there all along. Something like a Buddha waiting in everyone. A monk opens his mouth, and 6 tiny Buddhas come out of it. What does this scene mean? If I add this, you might get it now. Yes, he is speaking. But why 6 Buddhas? Hold that question. The answer is the whole of one man's life. His name is Kuya, a monk who lived 3 centuries before this statue was carved. Little is known about his origins, though later records claimed imperial descent. What we know is that he lived in troubled times. Epidemics, natural disasters, and rebellions brought suffering across the country, especially to ordinary people. Against this backdrop, Kuya set out across Japan on humble straw sandals. Ordained around the age of 20 and named himself Kuya, he spent decades travelling, studying, training and preaching before arriving in Kyoto in 938. Wherever he went, he offered help, repairing roads, building bridges, digging wells, caring for the sick and poor. Even when he came upon abandoned bodies, he stopped to arrange their burial. And throughout all of this he chanted the same phrase over and over for the rest of his life. Keep that in mind. In Kuya's time, more and more people longed for the pure land amid a Buddha's paradise free from suffering. Yet these teachings stayed largely within aristocratic circles, and most temples were under state control, with little room to reach ordinary people. So some monks left the system and went onto the street. They became known as hijiri. Kuya was one of them. One story tells of a deer that often came to him on Mount Kurama until a hunter killed it. Kuya kept its skin and antlers and made them into a robe and a staff which stayed with him for the rest of his life. Moved by this, the hunter became his disciple. A gong hung from his chest and a wooden striker rested in his hand. In Kyoto's markets he preached, helped those in need, and encouraged everyone to chant, earning the name Ichi no Hijiri, the saint of the marketplace. In 947, an epidemic swept the city. To pray for its end, Kuya gathered donations to commission a large 11-headed Kannon statue, then pulled it through the streets on a cart, handing out tea with preserved plums and kelp knots to the sick while chanting and dancing. For this reason, he is regarded as a forerunner of Odori Nembutsu, the rhythmic Buddhist chant and dance. Later, he founded the temple we now call Rokuhara Mitsuji, where he spent his final years and where this statue still stands. So, what was the phrase he repeated for an entire lifetime? Na mu a mi da butsu, meaning I take refuge in Amida Buddha. 6 syllables, words addressed to Amida Buddha, who was believed to welcome all who called upon his name into the Pure Land. And now the 6 Buddhas make sense, each syllable given form. Tiny Amida Buddhas caught mid-breath. While most statues preserve a person's appearance, this one preserves a voice. So 1,000 years later, we can still perceive his deep compassion leaving his mouth.